In the shadowed corners of a modern city, Alex Dawson's life spirals into a chilling nightmare. Plagued by haunting visions and a ghostly ancestor, he confronts a terrifying possibility. Is he the next incarnation of the infamous Wolfman? As reality warps into horror, Alex's descent into madness leaves us questioning. Where does the line between myth and mind truly lie? Dive into a gripping tale where ancestral curses and psychological terror intertwine, blurring the boundaries of the possible and the unimaginable. Welcome to the shadow of the full moon. Dare to uncover the truth behind the howl. Chapter 1. The Echoes of Failure. The neon lights of the city flickered in the reflection of a puddle as Alex Dawson, a figure of modern disillusionment, trudged through the bustling streets of downtown. His scowl, as much a part of him as his shadow, deepened with every step towards the cramped apartment he called home. Inside, the walls were adorned with posters of vintage rock bands, and the air was stale with the scent of fast food and unfulfilled ambitions. Alex slumped into his worn-out armchair, the springs creaking in protest as he flicked on the TV, his constant companion in a life marked by inertia. His phone buzzed relentlessly with notifications, a digital testament to his voracious appetite for social media. With a lazy swipe, he opened his latest rant, a cascade of words that blamed the world for his stagnant life. Another day, wasted thanks to my boss's incompetence, he typed furiously. Why is it so hard to find people who actually understand what they're doing? He hit post, the familiar surge of self-righteous anger warming him momentarily. His feed was a litany of complaints about his job, his lack of romantic success, the city's traffic. Never once did he consider his own role in these failings. As he scrolled through the reactions to his post, a sense of hollow satisfaction filled him. His friends' comments ranged from sympathetic to encouraging, but none dared to challenge his narrative. They knew Alex too well. He was always the victim, never the culprit. In his dimly lit living room, surrounded by mementos of a life half-lived, Alex was a king in a self-made castle of denial. He reveled in his unchallenged opinions and unexamined life, unaware that the full moon rising outside was about to cast a long, dark shadow over his world. As the clock ticked towards midnight, the room seemed to grow colder, the shadows deeper. Unseen forces stirred, awakening an ancient lineage, a legacy long buried under layers of modern cynicism and self-entitlement. But for now, Alex remained blissfully ignorant, a puppet, unaware of the strings about to be pulled by the ghostly hands of his past. Chapter 2. The Gypsy Camp in the Shadows. The soft glow of the computer screen illuminated Alex's face as he scrolled through his social media feed, the night outside his window deep and still. A post from an online friend, Mark, caught his eye. Just traced my family tree back to the 1800s. Can't believe I have aristocratic ancestors, Mark's post boasted, complete with a link to the genealogy website he used. Intrigued, despite himself, Alex clicked the link. Might as well see if there's anything interesting in my family tree, he muttered, expecting little. The website was user-friendly, and within minutes, Alex entered his family details. He hit the search button, a part of him secretly hoping for something remarkable. The results loaded, revealing a history far from what Alex had hoped for. His ancestors were not nobles or famed scholars, but a line of Romani gypsies. The page detailed their nomadic lifestyle, deeply ingrained in folklore and mysticism. Gypsies, huh? Great. Not even a hint of fame or fortune. Alex scoffed, his disappointment evident. Yet, a small part of the site caught his eye, a section linking Romani culture to legends of werewolves, believed to be protectors and sometimes cursed being among their tribes. Typical, he grumbled, closing his laptop with a sense of unfulfilled curiosity. He went to bed, his mind inadvertently dwelling on the new information. That night, Alex found himself in a vivid dream. He was sitting by a crackling fire, the night air filled with the sounds of a gypsy camp. The wagons were ornately decorated, forming a circle around him, their colours vibrant even in the moonlit darkness. The location was remote, surrounded by dense forests and the mysterious hum of nature. He noticed something peculiar. All the wagons were locked from the inside, as if the inhabitants were protecting themselves from something. He felt a strange sense of isolation, being the only one outside. An old man emerged from the shadows, his face weathered and wise. He sat down beside Alex, and they talked. The conversation was mundane at first, but as the night deepened, Alex noticed a change in the old man. His features began to twist and contort, his body enlarging. The transformation was horrific, yet fascinating. The old man turned into a massive, terrifying werewolf, his eyes glowing with a feral light. Alex tried to run, but it was too late. The werewolf lunged at him, its growl deafening. The shock and fear were overwhelming, jolting Alex awake in his bed, his heart racing and sweat beading on his forehead. "Only a dream," he panted, trying to calm himself, but a lingering sense of unease stayed with him, a shadow from the past reaching out into his modern, disbelieving world. Chapter 3. The Reflection in the Screen. The first rays of dawn were creeping through the blinds when Alex, still shaken from his dream, found himself in front of his computer again. His fingers flew across the keys, a frenzied search for werewolves filling the screen. He stumbled upon a site detailing lycanthropy, the mythical or psychological condition of a human transforming into a wolf. The website described it as a complex interplay of folklore and psychopathology, where individuals believe themselves to be, or actually transform into, wolves. A curious thought nagged at Alex's mind. Could his ancestors have suffered from this condition? The idea seemed ludicrous, yet it lingered stubbornly. He sat, lost in thought, until a glance at the clock jolted him back to reality. "Oh crap," he muttered, realizing he was late for work again. Rushing through the morning traffic, Alex arrived at his job, his boss, Mr. Henderson, already waiting for him. "This is the 5th time, Alex," Mr. Henderson said sternly, pulling him into the office. "This won't do." But something had shifted in Alex. The anger that bubbled inside him was different, fiercer. "Don't you dare speak to me like that," he snarled. "If it wasn't for me and the other workers, you'd have no business. You just take as much as you can and pay us a pittance. We deserve more." "Really?" Mr. Henderson replied, his demeanor calm and collected. "Tell me, Alex, what risks did you take to create this business? Did you invest your life savings, put your house on the line, build something from nothing that keeps 40 people employed? No, I didn't think so. If you leave, the business will go on. But if I close it, you have nothing." His words were like a mirror, reflecting a reality Alex had never considered. The philosophy behind them spoke of the creator's risk and vision, the foundation upon which workers thrived, a concept that Alex, in his blind entitlement, had never acknowledged. Dismissed and suspended for his outburst, Alex returned home, seething. He unleashed his frustration online, ranting about capitalist exploitation and how workers should control and evenly distribute company profits. His followers rallied behind him, fueling his indignation. But as he shut down his computer, the screen turned black, reflecting his face. It was not the face of a disgruntled worker, but something else, a distorted, wolf-like visage. The sight stopped him cold. Was he imagining it? Or was the curse of lycanthropy real? Shaken, Alex pondered the man in his dream. The parallels were unsettling. Could he, like his ancestor, be afflicted with this ancient condition? The possibility was both terrifying and enthralling. In the silence of his room, the line between reality and myth blurred. Alex was caught in a web of psychological turmoil, the suspense of his true nature, whether human or beast, hanging in the balance. It's time for a quick scare break. As we linger in these shadowy realms, a small favour I dare to ask. If my tales of terror bring you thrills, do not let our journey end here. Hit like, subscribe, and join our dark congregation. I must extend my deepest, most sinister thanks to those souls brave enough to support our chilling journey. Your contributions, kindred spirits, are the lifeblood of our channel. They help me continue to craft the haunting tales that send shivers down your spine and keep you awake at night, pondering what lurks in the shadows. If you too find yourself captivated by our chilling chronicles and wish to help the channel, consider clicking the thanks button below. Your support, dear viewer, is not just a contribution. It's a lifeline that allows me to continue weaving these terrifying tales just for you. Let's embrace the darkness once more. Let's get back to the shadows. The walls of his apartment felt like they were closing in on Alex. Alone, suspended from work, his mind became a battleground, teetering on the edge of reality and delusion. The reflection he had seen in the computer screen haunted him, its beastly image seared into his mind. With each passing hour, vivid images tormented him. He saw himself running through dense, shadowy forests under the moonlight, the sensation of fur bristling against his skin, feeling unnervingly real. He could almost hear the low growls escape in his throat, the wild, primal instinct within him surfacing in these hallucinations. Was this the awakening of a dormant curse, or the unraveling of a mind long oppressed by denial and blame? The idea of lycanthropy, once a distant myth, now seemed a tangible threat lurking in his very blood. His dreams were no refuge, filled with haunting visions of the Gypsy camp, the old man's transformation, and now his own metamorphosis. Each morning he awoke in a cold sweat, his heart pounding, unable to shake the feeling that he was losing his grip on sanity. The isolation of his apartment amplified his fears. The ticking of the clock, the creaking of the floorboards, even his own breathing sounded ominous, as if signaling the approach of something sinister. His own reflection became a source of dread, a constant reminder of the beast he feared he was becoming. As the full moon approached, his anxiety escalated. He found himself pacing restlessly at night, his thoughts a whirlwind of confusion and terror. Was he truly inheriting the curse of his ancestors? Or was this the culmination of years of repressed anger and self-loathing? The suspense was maddening. Each moment was a battle against the fear of transformation, the fear that he might lose himself to a creature of the night. The line between reality and madness blurred, leaving Alex trapped in a chilling limbo of psychological horror. The chapter closes with Alex, wide-eyed, staring at the full moon from his window. Is Alex about to undergo a real transformation, or is it merely the descent into his own personal madness? The terror of the unknown grips him in a haunting dance of suspense and dread. Chapter 5. The Unraveling. The sharp, insistent knock at the door pierced through the eerie silence of Alex's apartment. Startled, his heart racing, he stumbled to answer. Standing there was the woman from the apartment below, annoyance etched on her face. "What's with all the banging and constant walking back and forth?" she demanded. "We're trying to sleep. Some of us have work in the morning." Alex felt a surge of fury, but it was quickly overshadowed by a deeper, more primal fear. He glanced down at his hands and saw, to his horror, thick black fur sprouting from his skin. His mind reeled in disbelief, unable to comprehend the nightmare unfolding before his eyes. He staggered away from the door, leaving it ajar. The woman, concern replacing her irritation, followed him inside. "Are you okay? You look terrible," she asked, stepping cautiously closer, but Alex was beyond reach. He felt his body contorting, reshaping. Fur covered his arms, and he sensed his face twisting into something monstrous. A guttural snarl escaped his lips as he turned to face the woman, now seeing her through the eyes of what he believed to be a fully transformed werewolf. With a predatory lunge, he attacked, teeth bared and claws extended. Her screams filled the room as he bit and clawed, lost in a frenzy of violence. But then, in the heat of the assault, Alex's gaze caught his reflection in the mirror. There was no werewolf, only Alex, his face twisted with madness, his body covered in blood. Beneath him lay the woman, lifeless, marred with bite marks and scratches. Neighbors, drawn by the commotion, rushed in and subdued him. Alex, still gripped by delusion, screamed, "I am a werewolf," as they held him down. Later, in the sterile confines of a police cell, Alex's cries echoed off the walls. "It wasn't me. I changed into a werewolf," he shouted, but the officer outside only shook his head. "We have the right one here," he muttered, dismissing the ravings of a man lost to his own madness. The chapter closes with Alex alone, the cold reality setting in. The beast he feared, the curse he believed in, was nothing more than a manifestation of his fractured psyche. The horror of what he had done, the life he had taken, lay heavy on him, a burden far more terrifying than any mythical curse. Chapter 6. The Ghosts and the Shadow. In the bleakness of his cell, Alex sat huddled in a corner, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and confusion. The events of the night played over in his mind like a macabre film, each frame etched with horror and disbelief. As he grappled with the reality of his actions, a chilling presence filled the cell. From the shadows emerged a figure, the ghost of his great-great-grandfather, the original Wolfman. The ghost was a mere whisper of a man, his features blurred, yet unmistakably wolf-like. "You've unleashed the beast, Alex," the ghostly figure spoke, his voice a haunting echo from the past. "The curse that runs in our blood, the beast within, it has been awakened." Alex, shivering in the cold cell, felt a surge of terror. Was the ghost real, or another figment of his fractured mind? Did I really become a werewolf?" he stammered. "The beast is not in the blood, but in the soul," the ghost replied, his form flickering like a candle flame. "It's the rage, the blame, the refusal to see the truth about oneself. That's the real curse." Outside the cell, a police officer on his rounds paused, noticing Alex. He watched, perplexed, as Alex seemed to be conversing with thin air, his gestures frantic and face twisted with anguish. Back inside, the ghost continued, "Your transformation was not of flesh, but of spirit. The monster you became was born of your own inner turmoil." Alex's heart raced as he tried to process the ghost's words. Was the transformation a physical reality or a metaphorical manifestation of his own inner demons? The ghost began to fade, his final words hanging in the air. "The beast can be tamed, Alex, but only if you confront it. Only if you face the truth within." As the ghost vanished, Alex was left in haunting silence, his mind a tumult of thoughts. The lines between reality and illusion, between man and monster, had never been more blurred. Outside the cell, the officer shook his head, muttering about the strange behaviour of the man inside. Talking to himself. Must be losing it, he thought, unaware of the spectral visitor that had just departed. The chapter closes with Alex alone, the echo of the ghost's words resonating in his mind. We are left to ponder the true nature of Alex's transformation. Was it a physical metamorphosis, or the manifestation of a tormented psyche? The ambiguity leaves a lingering sense of horror, the shadow of the Wolfman's curse, eternally hovering between the realms of the real and the unreal. Now, dear reader, we must ponder the tale of Alex. Do you believe he truly became a werewolf, or did he succumb to his own inner demons and madness? Is it possible for a man to transform into a beast, or is the human mind more easily swayed by circumstance and its own dark recesses? Consider the mind of Alex, devoid of a creation, relying solely on others for his sense of worth and direction. Such a mind is like fertile soil for the seeds of doubt and delusion. The essence of a fulfilling life, you see, lies in one's ability to create, to contribute something unique and valuable to the world. A life without this creative endeavour is hollow, easily swayed by the winds of circumstance. The story of Alex serves as a cautionary tale. It invites us to question the nature of reality and the power of the human psyche. It urges us to reflect on our own lives, on the importance of personal responsibility and the pursuit of a meaningful existence through our own efforts. As we close this chapter, we are left to contemplate these themes. Was Alex a victim of a supernatural curse, or a prisoner of his own unexamined life? The answer, perhaps, lies not in the story, but in our interpretation of it. And so, we end our tale. May it linger in your thoughts, challenging your perceptions of reality and the power of the human mind. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey. If your thirst for the unknown and the unexplained is still unquenched, I invite you to delve deeper into the abyss of terror. Just beyond the veil of reality, another story awaits to send shivers down your spine. Dare to join me in the next video, where the unknown becomes known and the unseen seen. Until then, keep the lights dim and your mind open. This is Professor Shadow, signing off.